Hi, Mahaley.
All right, we're gonna give people a few minutes logged in here.
Okay. Sounds
Hi,
good.
Mahaley. Uh-oh. Video. Okay. All right. So, looks like it was my first time running a Facebook Live here. We have getting around here, but I think we're gonna keep going. So, we'll do our first installment of Rogue Kitchen, and hold on, my audio is gargled. Let me stop this here. All right, let's try that again. Welcome to Rogue Kitchen. This is a little Jim Webb. This is Jason Wright over
That way.
and we're going to be cooking from our house to yours, and just showing you a few quick recipes. We all run out of ideas during quarantine of what to cook next, and we just want to get some good ideas to you from us, from our kitchen to yours. So tonight, Jason right here is going to be doing Masala, and I'll let you talk a little bit about the recipe and why you chose it.
Okay, very good. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. So it's doing chicken tikka masala. All right. Typically, that recipe, you take raw chicken, you cut it up, and you marinate it like a yogurt-based marinade, right? And then you cook it, and you build your sauce from there. Okay, today's recipe is quite a bit more simple. All right, we're actually going to be using some rotisserie chicken here. We're going to pull that apart. All right, and we're going to add our rotisserie chicken to a really basic sauce. Okay, so we are going to take some butter here. All right, and we're going to fry some mild curry paste here in that butter. Okay, and then we'll take some garlic. All right, we'll put the garlic on a microplane there. We'll add the garlic to that, and then we're going to take a tomato sauce here, just out of a jar. Okay, and we're going to add that to it. We don't have to go through the process of dicing a bunch of tomato sauce. Right? It's just a really easy and quick way to do it. All right, and actually purchasing a rotisserie chicken is actually a little bit cheaper, all right, than buying like a whole chicken and cutting that up, or even buying like legs and quarters, or even chicken breast. Okay, really, I picked this recipe because it's one of my all-time favorite recipes. I learned how to do it years ago when I was at a restaurant that I cooked in. Only we used lamb with it instead. But through the years of kind of played around with it a little bit, and I've got a lot of us have kids, and so when you get home from work or you get done with work, you need something quick, right? So I found that this recipe actually works really well for having kids, and again, it's very, very simple to do. It's one of those a recipe that you can serve with rice. All right, so we're just going to take 1 cup of raw rice here. That's a basmati rice there. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and cook that. Okay, so right now I'm going to start up that rice. That way we can get that going, and we're going to jump right into the sauce. All right, and feel free, for those of you who are cooking at home, if you have any questions, or if you're confused on something or want to throw out a comment or anything like that, don't be afraid to put in the comments there. Jimmy will see those and he'll relay those to me. All right, and we'll be sure to answer any questions that you all might have. Okay, so I'm trying not to turn my back here too much to you all here. But I'm going to go ahead and start up our rice. So I've got 1 cup of rice here, and to that I'm just adding water. Our sauce is going to have so much flavor in it that we don't really need a chicken stock, or we don't really need to season up the rice. You can, of course, you can definitely add vegetable stock or chicken stock or season up your rice there if you'd like. I'm just going to add plain water to it. And to 1 cup of basmati rice, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of water, okay? And that rice, by the way, I've already rinsed it. You rinse it 4 or 5 times until the liquid turns clear there, all right? And then that'll give us some really nice rice that'll where it's the grains separate easier, okay? They don't stick together and they don't clump up, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and cover that. I've got that on high heat. When it comes up to a boil, I'll turn that down, all right? And we'll cook it for about 7 or 8 minutes. Pull it off the heat, let it steam for another 5 minutes, and we'll have our rice ready to go, okay? So now over here in our pot here, I've got a heavy bottom pot, okay? And it kind of heats up a little bit slower, but it distributes the heat fairly well, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and plop in our butter here, all right? And we'll wait for that to melt, all right? While the butter's melting, I'm gonna go ahead and chop up our garlic here. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a microplane here, okay? So do the garlic. Let me turn the screen down here a bit so y'all can see this. You won't see my face, but at least you'll be able to see what I'm doing here, okay? You can use garlic on a microplane, something we like to use a lot in our classes, all right? And you just go along the microplane there, all right? Like so, okay, and it shreds that garlic really nice for you, all right? You've got some really, really nice kind of shredded or almost chopped up garlic there, okay? All right, so we can do that. Another gadget I found, which actually I haven't found that doesn't work all that great, but it's still pretty handy to have. It's this little garlic chopper here. All right, and that little thing there, you just kind of roll and press at the same time, and it crushes your garlic, kind of chops it up for you. I like using the microplane, so I'll go ahead and do up this other clove of garlic here, and we'll get that nice and shredded here. I don't know if you call that chopped or planed, or definitely call it zested. But Jimmy, what do you think you'd call that?
I think we're gonna call that grated.
Grated. Oh, that's a good term. So we'll go ahead and throw this in our dish here.
Yeah, sorry, I've been
right.
I've been trying to get my mic going. If someone could give me a comment, let me know my audio is good. That'd be great.
Wash the hands there a little bit. All right, so our butter over here is melting nicely here. All right. Oh yeah, we got some nice little sizzle going on with our butter.
Now, how high heat did we do that on?
Just word of that is high heat. Thank you, Jimmy. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn that down a bit. We don't scorch our butter. We definitely do not want to brown it. All right, I'm going to take this Patek's curry paste here. This stuff is great. We'll just plop in a couple of tablespoons here of this stuff. Now, I bought the mild. They do have spicy, or you can find spicy. All right, but I like using the mild here.
Where did you say you found that curry paste?
So I found this curry paste at H Mart. Funny thing, so I always try to keep Patek's curry paste on hand. I always try to keep a jar of it around. But I ran out recently, and I usually buy it at King Soopers. Well, King Soopers didn't have it, and crazy. I think you can't even buy it in the store. I think you have to have it delivered. So this is frying up really nicely here. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our tomato sauce here after just a second or two, or maybe a few more seconds here. All right. But anyway, so I had to go to our local H Mart down here in Aurora and find the curry paste there. So which they had a ton of it, which was great. All right, we'll go ahead and scrape off this now on our spoon here. Okay, so now I will go ahead and add our marinara sauce here. All right, and just straight in.
Now, just any kind of marinara.
No. Any kind. You don't want something that's too Italian. Something that has too much of an Italian flavor. Now we want to turn down this heat, right? Because we do not want to let this reduce too far to where it gets really, really pasty. Okay, we still want that nice saucy consistency. Okay, So I'll turn that down here in just a sec, but I want to point something out. So we have some more sauce inside that jar, right? We tried to get everything out. So what I like to do is just put a little bit of water in there, maybe about 1/4 of a cup or so. All right. Slap our lid back on there. Shake that guy up. All right. Now we've rinsed it all out, and we thin out our sauce just a tiny bit, and that gives us some wiggle room to reduce it. Okay. Now that jar is nice and cleaned out. Put that in a recycle. All right. So give that a little stir there. All right. Check our rice here. Okay. So the rice has come up to a boil here. So we'll go ahead and turn that guy down. And we'll set a timer here for 8 minutes. All right, we'll let that go. Okay, so now we've got our sauce is simmering nicely over here. Okay, so we'll turn that down just a touch. Okay. Oh, let me add the garlic here. We'll get that stirred in there. Okay. Sometimes there's real life cooking, right? You get going and you forget to put something in. That's all right. We'll get that in there. Okay.
I think what's good about this sauce is it's a simmering sauce. So once you have that the garlic in there, you'll still get a lot of the flavor.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so now we go to our rotisserie chicken. I got this guy at King Soopers today. It's still a little. It's not completely chilled here, but I'll just break it down right over this sheet pan here. All right, so we break down the thigh here. We'll take out the skin. We don't want that skin in the sauce there or anything. And
now I know my dogs used to love the skin.
Yeah, well, sometimes we'll save the skin, put them on the sheet pans. We'll roast them in the oven for a little bit, get them nice and crispy, and put them on top of things. So we really want pieces about like that size there. Okay, we want kind of bigger than bite size, because as we stir it into our sauce, all right, it'll break down, or it'll break up a little bit more. We don't want finely shredded chicken in our sauce there. Okay, so we'll break down this other guy here. Oh, look at this! See that piece right there?
That's the best part. That's my favorite.
Oh, that's the best part. That's the best part. It's called the oyster of the chicken. As the chicken roasts, all the juices flow down to that section of the chicken. Oh, it's delicious. It's the best part. And then on the turkey, oh man,
oh yeah,
it is really, really, really good. So we'll definitely.
I tend to sneak those away and pull them off to the side for myself.
I figure whoever is cooking the chicken or the turkey, that is their kind of their Scooby snack, their special treat.
I think my son started to catch on to that though, and he'll come up and just sneak up to the cutting board and just.
Well, we try to teach our kids everything we can, and of course, I teach the girls that. That's the piece and the skin that they always go for. But
so
I like using rotisserie chickens. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay, I was going to take a moment to say hi to some people that we have here. I see in the comments.
Awesome.
Susan.
All right. Hi,
Jeff
Susan.
Rice.
Hey, Dad.
Carol, thanks for joining us all the way from Albuquerque.
Oh,
yeah, yes,
hi,
the
Carol.
skin is the best part.
Yes.
Kathy Rice.
Hey, Mom.
Laura Limpy, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you can take this recipe. Hopefully my audio is a little bit better. I think I've confirmed that with our guest in the audience.
Okay.
So while you're breaking this down,
yeah.
So what I do a lot of times with rotisserie chickens with this is like you, I pull the skin off, feed it to my dogs or eat it myself. Pull the chicken and put that in one bowl, but then a lot of times I'll take the bones, and every time I get a rotisserie chicken, I'll take all those bones, stick them in a Ziploc bag, and put it in the freezer. And then, in a couple weeks, a month or so after having a few rotisserie chickens or any other sort of poultry bones, I'll take that, and then I'll make
Yep.
chicken stock with that. So always save
Absolutely.
your scraps as
Yeah.
much as you possibly can.
Oh yeah, definitely. They make great stocks. Like just the other night, we had pork chops from Corner Post. Nice hat there, Jimmy. And took the or grilled up the pork chops, and then had the bones left over, and had 2 chicken carcasses in the freezer. So I made a stock with that, and then made some ramen broth with it. And we had ramen last night for dinner.
Oh, nice. That sounds
So it was
delicious.
fun to do. Yeah, yeah. We always try to use as much of the product as we possibly can. And as we go through here, we get some of this like cartilage. That's the sternum of the bone. It's actually technically not called a sternum. Jimmy, do you the breastbone of the chicken's called? I can't remember what exactly it's called.
I should.
It's specifically designed for birds that fly, although a lot of chickens really don't fly, but it's that kind of bone for those types of birds, and I forgot what it's called. So if somebody out there knows what it's called,
The power of the internet.
power of the internet.
Kathy Rice, how do you make sure that no tiny bones are in your stock? You can use a sieve or a strainer of any sort. So after I boil my stock, I let it cool down a little bit so it's a little bit easier to handle the pot. And let me grab the one that I usually use.
Oh, there's the other oyster right there. That's good
Oyster number
stuff.
2.
Oyster
And
number
so
2.
this is what I usually use. It's a fine mesh strainer. It'll get all the bones out for sure. Sometimes I'll do one run through this, but then I'll take this, clean it out, and put a coffee filter in it, and then run my stock through a coffee filter so I get all the residual bits and pieces out as well. Yeah, Laura, I always save my bones, and I always have a bag in the freezer of bones. And I do tend to separate my poultry and my four-legged animal bones. I'll do pork and beef together just because I like the flavor of it. And, you only get so many pork or beef bones from ribeyes or ribs or anything. So that's a good way to have 2 different types of stock. And then you can do a blonde stock and a dark stock too. But, all right, so let's get back to that sauce back there.
All right, yeah. So we've reduced a little bit back in here, but we still have a really nice consistency. It's not really pasty. Okay. And we also want to try to get some yield out of this too, right? We want to be able to coat all of our chicken that we're putting in. And if we reduce our stock, or if we reduce our stock too much, our sauce, we're talking about stock. If we reduce our sauce too much, then we won't have enough sauce to coat all of our chicken, and so then we won't get our yield or anything like that. So, sorry, game, I have to pull that down a couple more times here, but okay. So our rice is about 30 seconds away from being done here, and our sauce is probably about 4 or 5 minutes away from being done. Remember, we have to steam our rice too, so we are very close to having this dish almost completely done here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a taste of this, see what we have, and oh man, God, that curry paste is so good. I love that stuff. I don't mind using some pre-made products from time to time. Okay, so my rice is done here. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. We'll just let that steam back there. Okay. Now to this sauce right now, we have this really nice punch of curry at the beginning. Okay, and then we have some really nice acidity kind of floating around in the back there. Okay, but what we're gonna add to this now is heavy cream, and that heavy cream is going to give it that richness. Okay, that's really going to pull those flavors together for us. All right, it's going to be very, very delicious. Okay, so right now I'm going to dump in our chicken here. Okay, and at the same time, I will go ahead and dump in our heavy cream as well.
Oh, nice. That looks delicious.
Heavy cream. All right. We'll stir all this together. All right. And really what we want to do now is we just want to heat up that cream. We want to heat up that chicken. We want to let those flavors meld nicely together. Oh my gosh, look how delicious that is. Man.
Oh, nice. That looks so good. Now, since everything's
See,
already
now
cooked and warm and everything, we don't have to go too long with this, right?
that's correct. We don't, especially on a rotisserie chicken, we don't want that chicken to be falling apart. We don't want shredded chicken in our sauce here. Okay. Oh man, look at that. All right, now we'll taste that again. And oh yeah, that creaminess is really just, it's mellowed out even the spiciness in the curry. Okay. Really mellowed out that acidity that's in that tomato sauce there. Okay. So just going to turn this up real quick. Just bring it back up to heat. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and cut some cilantro and scallions here, or green onions. All right. And this is just like a garnish and something to add a little bit more flavor to our dish here. Okay. So let's take our scallions here, and we just want little slices like so. All right. If you want to get add some dimension or add some different, add a different look to your dish, you can cut your scallions on a bias cut like this. Okay. And we just cut them down like that. That's about all we need there for a nice little topper. All right. And our cilantro, I actually cut this straight from our garden just a few minutes ago here, just before we started. I love having fresh herbs readily available in the garden. It's great.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's cilantro is going crazy right now. All my friends are saying, hey, we have cilantro. Come pick it up.
And what's crazy is that usually this time of year, cilantro really starts to bolt in the garden. It starts to get those white flowers on it. But this year, it's actually doing really well. So I'm hoping I can cut on it for at least another week or two. That way I can use it here. But
now, do you have any tips for
it gets to the point
collecting all that before it does bolt? Do you have any ways of preserving that?
Yeah, so you can either dry it. I usually put it on a sheet pan and just let it sit out at room temperature, spread out, of course, so that way it's not sitting on top of each other and it doesn't mold. Of course, here in Colorado, it's dry. Typically, we are running our air conditioners. All right, so I'm going to turn this down just a tad just to keep it warm. All right, but we are ready to go on that.
All right, Jason,
check our rice
quick
here.
Question from the crowd. How much was the heavy cream? What was the amount on that?
Heavy cream, I believe, was 1/4 cup. And you can put more, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 of a cup, but typically a chicken or a tikka masala, you want a little bit less cream in it. So, all right. So on the cilantro here, I'm just going to chiffonade or cut into like thin strips. Okay, so I've got all the cilantro kind of piled up like this. So I'm just going to take it and kind of roll it together. Okay, and then just cut it in thin strips using my middle finger as the guide here, kind of slicing and chopping at the same time, or doing like a forward down motion, if you will. Nice little, man, I love the smell of cilantro.
Make sure those fingers are curled in, right?
Make sure those fingers are curled in. Yeah, you definitely do not want any fingers in your food.
We got a couple students watching. We got Mahaley and our recent grad, Skylar Dial. And a shout out.
Hey, Skylar.
Big shout out to Mackenzie Amon, too. She's kind of behind the scenes helping this all work out, too.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Appreciate your help. All right, so we've got that all cut up. All right, so we've got our scallions. We've got our cilantro here. I'm going to check our rice. All right.
Jason Rice, checking the rice.
Checking the rice. Oh, I already got a fork there. Okay. We'll
Corey, I'm with
move
you.
this stuff out of the way.
I do feel bad for the people who have the soap taste gene. I love cilantro.
All right. Oh, yeah. See how we're nice? Oh, that is perfectly cooked. I mean, it's basmati rice.
Can you move it up a little bit towards the oven? There we go.
Right there. Right there.
Yep, there we go.
Sorry, there we go. We've got individual grains here. All right. Perfectly cooked. All right. Oh yeah. That'll make a nice, really, really nice dish there. All right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we can plate this up, and this dish is really great for serving family style. All right. Put it onto a big platter, or you pull out a cool plate, or heck, if you wanted to, you could even do like a cool wood serving platter or something like that, even with the sauce on there. All right. We're going to use this plate though here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'll turn this down just a bit here. Go. All right. So I'm going to take our rice here. All right. I'm going to spoon it down the middle here a little bit. All right. It's kind of a rustic dish too. It's one of my
This is a great dish to do family style.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ways to cook is rustic. I mean, that's how I grew up, I grew up family style.
And simple and easy too, I think
it is.
There's something to be said for those weekday meals when we're all trying to get work done, or we get home late, or
Absolutely.
are working from home late, and we just need something quick that we can do in the half hour. And look, we're right about 27 minutes, and we're just about done.
Nice. Cool. I like that. Okay, check the handles on this guy, make sure we're not going to burn ourselves. All right, and we've got this beautiful chicken tikka masala here. All right, we're just going to spoon that right on top of our rice. And again, you can even serve this like in a big bowl and serve like half rice, half your tikka masala there. Okay, we'll have some sauce left over here. We can, if you want to maybe cook up some more rice or something, or save it for leftovers. Sometimes leftovers is even better. All right, and we'll take our cilantro here. We want to put our cilantro on first. All right, we want that cool looking scallion shape on top. Okay, and then we'll take our scallions here. We'll just do a little line of sprinkling scallions like so. Okay.
There we go.
Voila. We have easy, inexpensive, quick chicken tikka masala. It's all thanks to Paddock's curry paste, or the curry paste we chose to use, I guess. But it adds a ton of flavor, and it's easy, and the kids like it, that's for sure. So this will be their dinner tonight, and hopefully it'll be yours. Well, not this one.
Well, I'm jealous I didn't cook along, because I can smell it from here, and I'm getting hungry. And actually, I'm not sure what we're making for dinner. I think Brooke's listening in. What are we doing for dinner?
Well, I appreciate you moderating and helping out with this, you doing a lot of the lead on it as well.
All right.
But so if anybody has any questions or comments, we're definitely happy to hang out and discuss anything or answer any questions you might have. But thank you all very much for joining us today. Next week, we're going to be outside on the grill, and we're going to be doing some grilled cauliflower, some charred corn, and a sweet potato cucumber salad. So should be great. So I hope you can join us. We look forward to that.
Cool. Yeah, and
thank you all very much for joining us.
The next Facebook live event next week. I'll post in the chat here in the comments. But you can also find all of our live events coming up on the Facebook Live page, on the School of Hospitality's Facebook Live. So, and actually, we'll have Mackenzie post that here right now. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions? We'll hang out here and check out the comments. Laura Lempe. Let's see. Yep. So next time is going to be the vegetarian grilling.
Yep.
Jason was talking about the cauliflower steaks, which is a really cool recipe. Um, Carol, we should ship some to Albuquerque. Yeah, we can freeze it and then ship it in some dry ice. Yeah, Laura, it is super easy, super quick, and that's what we're gonna try to do with the series. Is just a really easy, quick recipes for everybody.
Yeah, stuff that's not complicated and doesn't take a lot of time, and effort to put into it, and something that it's still delicious, So should be fun.
Right. Yeah. And so Mackenzie just posted the next Facebook event. I see some questions about the recipe. I believe that lives in the event. And if not, we can definitely post it here as well. We'll get that out to everybody one way or another. But I do believe it is on the Facebook event page for this live event. And there should be an image, and it should be in the description there as well.
Cool. Very good.
All right. Well, we're right at 4 minutes and 32 seconds. I know we scheduled this for an hour, but I think we're going to try to, just so everybody knows, we'll schedule them for an hour. We're going to shoot for about a half hour for these. Some will go a little bit over. Some will be right on point. And if the conversation continues, then we can stay on for as long as we want. Well, until my kids come in and say they're hungry. But we will be switching off. We'll be in Jason's kitchen. We'll be in my kitchen. We'll be in some of the other chefs' kitchens from the School of Hospitality. And we may even do one outside and do some camp cooking. So
definitely would love to do that. Yeah. And while I see this in the screen here, I pulled out this skillet earlier, and the reason why I pulled it out is I use this enameled cast iron here, but if you have a skillet like this from like this particular recipe, it would work just fine in a skillet like this. So it's just something big enough that gives you some space to stir your chicken in, and something to allow you to fry that curry paste in there. So but you don't have to have something like this. You could, instead of skillet or cast iron skillet, if you have it, or something like that. So
cool. Yeah,
cool.
I think that's another goal of ours too. Is we'll show you our kitchens. These are our home kitchens, and now while we have both been professional chefs in the past, so we have some pretty good equipment. I still have the same pots and pans I got before my wife and I got married, and they work just fine for things, So we'll go through and kind of show you some of what we use in our kitchens and how that works out. So. But I think that's it. So, Rogue Kitchen, as Jackson says, signing off. We'll come up with a tagline eventually. But thanks for joining us. And have a great day. Hope you enjoy.
Go Rogue. All right. Thanks, y'all.